Welcome to class 11 biology. Myself Malkiyat Singh, PhD Bio, KPS Chandigarh region. Today will learn about chapter number 2 of class 11, that is biological classification, and the topics in focus today are protista, fungi and viruses. So let's student uh, learn about the kingdom protista. First of all, kingdom protista is concept comprises of single celled eukaryotes. They are comprised of single celled eukaryotes. That means they are having true nucleus, true nuclear membrane. They are having the membrane bound organelles like mitochondria, chloroplast. All these organelles are will be present in them, in the cell. Primarily these are aquatic forms, and it forms actually a link with others. Means fungi, plankton, animalia, this kingdom forms a link with others. And there is presence of cilia or flagella. For example, paramecium will be there, that is having cilia. Flagellates are there. So they reproduce sexually as well as asexually, and the sexual reproduction involves the process of cell fusion, and there is formation of a zygote also. Zygote formation is there. The first group in kingdom protista is chrysophytes. Chrysophytes include diatoms and golden algae, which are called as desmids. They are called diatoms because their cell wall consists of two phases. They are actually microscopic. You can see only with the help of microscope, and they are planktons. They are just drifted passively in the streams of water or in the ocean. Mostly they are photosynthetic. In diatoms, as I told you, the cell wall comprises two overlapping shells, and the walls are embedded with the silica, and thus the walls are indestructible. And they are the chief producers in the oceans. Means they are doing the photosynthesis and preparing organic material, food for marine organisms in the oceans. And this, as I told you, that their walls are embedded with silica. It's indestructible. So deposits of silica are found on the earth of where the diatoms are living. At the habitat of diatoms there is deposits of silica, and these deposits, these huge deposits, are called as diatomaceous earth. And students, it is very important from economic point of view because it is gritty, so it can be used for polishing purpose, filtration of oils and syrups, etc. So that means it is having a lot of economic uses. These are few pictures of diatoms. This is, as you can see, triceratium and pinolaria as seen under microscope. The second group is dinoflagellates. Flagellates because they are having the flagella. As you can see, observe the flagellum here, transverse flagellum and longitudinal flagellum. So let's see about their structure. They are mostly marine. They are found in oceans. They are photosynthetic. Just like diatoms, they are also photosynthetic, but they are colored. They may be yellow, green, brown, blue, red. Beautiful colors are there. It depends upon what the pigments do they have in their cells. The cells have outer surface made up of cellulose, and this cell wall is made up of cellulose. And most of them have two flagella. One lies longitudinally, as I told you, one lies longitudinally, and other transversely in a furrow. So you can see this furrow. It is between the wall plates. These are the cell wall plates, and this is the furrow between the cell wall plates. And flagella are arising. Flagella are present in these furrows. Due to excessive growth of red dinoflagellates, for example, gonialux, the sea appears red, which are called as red tides. And you know the toxins released by them, they may even kill the marine fish or other organisms. I will just show the pic of this red tide in the coming. Yes, this is the red tide. You can see a pic of ocean or a sea, which is red, showing red color, which is because of the red tide. Red tide is due to the excessive growth of the dinoflagellates, especially gonialix. Coming to the next category, that is euglenoids. You see this structure, euglenoids. Let's learn about the features. Do they have? Euglenoids are freshwater organisms which are found in mostly stagnant water. Diatoms and dinoflagellates were marine, but eulinoids are freshwater organisms. They don't have a cell wall. You won't see any cell wall here. There is just a protein rich layer which is called as pellicle, and pellicle makes their body flexible. And they are, although they are photosynthetic because they are having the chloroplast, but when they are deprived of sunlight, when they are in dark, they behave like heterotrophs. You can see a mouth like structure here. They behave like heterotrophs by predating on other small organisms. And you can also see the presence of flagella also. This organism is Euglena. So students, next category is the slime molds. See the structure of slime molds, just of group of, you see the filaments. These are saprophytic protists. Their body moves along decaying twigs. You can see this is the dead organic matter, and it is moving along the twigs and leaves, engulfing the organic material. In suitable conditions, they form the plasmodium. This is, you are seeing, this is the plasmodium. But in unfavorable conditions, they form the fruiting bodies bearing the spores. And their spores are believed to be extremely resistant, and they are dispersed by air currents. They persist in air for a number of months, for a couple of months. They are there in the air. So another category is protozoans. You can see this is the pics of amoeba, a 3D pic of amoeba, and they are heterotrophs and live as predators or parasites, and they are also regarded as the primitive relatives of animals. There are four types of protozoans depending upon their locomotory organ. For example, the first is amoeboid protozoans. As name is clear, it is the amoeba group present in freshwater, sea or moist soil. They move and capture their prey with the help of pseudopodia. These are their pseudopodia, their extensions of the body, or the extensions of the cell. Their body comprises of single cell. Okay, so they and marine forms even have silica shells also on their structure. And entamoeba is a parasite also. Another group is flagellated protozoans. You can see this organism, it's having a long flagella. You can see they are either free living or parasitic, and there is a main characteristic, they have the flagella. Parasitic forms cause diseases also, like sleeping sickness, for example trypanosoma. Another group is ciliated protozoans, which are aquatic and they have presence of cilia. They have the cavity also, gullet also, which is called gullet, that opens to the outside of the cell surface. This beating action of cilia causes the water-laden food to be entered into the gullet. For example, paramecium. Let's see the structure. Let's see the picture of paramecium. Yes, you can see main feature about paramecium is it's having two nucleus, macronucleus and micronucleus. These are its contractile vacuoles, and you can see a number of cilia here. Okay, this is the gullet. So this is the structure of paramecium. We are left with one more group, that is the sporozoans. Sporozoans have infectious spore-like stage in their life cycle. For example, you must have heard of malaria and malarial parasite, plasmodium, that causes the malaria. This plasmodium is actually a sporozoan which is spread by the bite of female Anopheles mosquito. So we have covered the types of protozoans, these protozoans here, and we have also finished kingdom Protista, and another kingdom is kingdom fungi. Let's talk about kingdom fungi, the features of kingdom fungi. They are heterotrophs. They are cosmopolitan. They're found everywhere, and they prefer to grow in warm and humid places. Except yeast, all are filamentous because yeast is unicellular. Cell wall is composed of chitin. See, there is a difference. Plants have cell wall, but that is made up of cellulose. And bacterial cell wall comprises of polysaccharides. So their wall is composed of chitin and polysaccharides. They may be saprophytes. That means they depend upon dead organic matter, or parasites in the living organisms, or they may be symbionts, or like mycorrhiza on the roots of higher plants, symbiotic relationship. And the reproduction is by vegetative means, for example fragmentation, fission, budding. Asexual reproduction by the production of many type of spores like conidia, like sprangospores, like zoospores. And sexual reproduction is also there by formation of oospores, ascospores, and basidiospores. So we will study this kingdom class wise. There are four classes. This kingdom fungi is divided into four classes. Let's study their classes one by one. So first class is Phycomycetes. You can see this picture. I hope you can answer what is this organism. Yes, this is Rhizopus. So let's study its features. They are found in aquatic habitats and on decaying wood in moist and damp places as obligate parasite on plants. Mycelium is aseptate, means there is no septa is not there in the hypha. So continuous cytoplasm is there. It is such a cytoplasm is such a body is called as cynocytic mycelium. Their asexual reproduction takes place by the help of zoospores, which are motile, or a non-motile spores called as aplanospores. And for example, Mucor, Rhizopus. Rhizopus is also called the common bread mold. Albugo is there. Albugo is the parasitic fungi on mustard. You can see the spores are being produced. This is sporangium, and this sprangospores are being produced. Okay, these hyphae are inside the bread or organic matter which are absorbing the nutrition, and these hyphae are spongiophore hyphae bearing the sporangia, and these are being dispersed into the air. So next class is Ascomycetes. Ascomycetes, for example, Penicillium. There is a production of Conidia spores here. So let's see its features. It's commonly known as sac fungi. Dascomycetes are mostly multicellular, for example, Penicillium. They may be really unicellular. Yeast scientific name Saccharomyces is also a part of Ascomycetes, and they are saprophytic, decomposers, parasitic, or coprophilous. Coprophilous is a new term for you. It means which is growing on the dung of animals. So mycelium is branched and septate. See the difference. The mycelium is septate. In Phycomycetes, the mycelium was aseptate. So uh, next class is Basidiomycetes. Basidiomycetes, you can now see this is Agaricus. Let's study its features. Commonly known forms of Basidiomycetes are mushroom, bracket fungi, or puffballs, and they grow in soil, on logs, tree stumps. In living plant bodies, also as parasites like rust and smut. It is found in the crops. The mycelium is branched and septate. Okay, for example, agaricus mushroom, ustilago, that is smut, puccinia, rust fungus. So here what happens, there is for example, you can see the two hyphae. These are haploid. Their cells are haploid. When the two compatible hyphae meet each other, so they form a dikaryon, and this phase is called dikaryophase. Means each cell will be having two nuclei. The fusion of the karyogamy and the meiosis in the zygote will take place in this cell, and ultimately it will lead to the formation of fruiting body will form the these are the gills, and from the gills the basidiospores will be produced. These spores are again released, which lead to production of another uh, gametophytic hyphae. So another last category is Deuteromycetes. They are called fungi imperfecti. Why they are called imperfecti? Because of the presence of only and only asexual and vegetative phase. There is no sexual stages. Reproduction is by asexual spores and conidia. Yes, one thing is there, that when their sexual forms will be discovered, they will be moved into the another class, mostly Ascomycetes and Basidiomycetes. They will be moved to that. Mycelium is septate, is branched. They may be saprophytes or parasites or decomposers. You must have seen a red rot in sugarcane. So that is caused by Colletotrichum falcatum. Some more examples are there. Trichoderma alternaria is there. So next we come to, this was all about the kingdom fungi. Now let's have a brief look at kingdom plantae. Kingdom plantae include all eukaryotic chlorophyll containing organisms, and few members are heterotrophic also. You must have heard about the insectivorous plants. And plant cells, they have eukaryotic structure with prominent chloroplast, and cell wall is mainly comprised of cellulose. And plantae include these five groups: algae, bryophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperms, and angiosperms. Similarly, the kingdom Animalia of Whitaker is characterized by presence of heterotrophic eukaryotic organisms that are multicellular, and their cells lack cell walls. There is no cell wall. They directly or indirectly depend upon plants for their food, maybe herbivorous or maybe carnivorous, and they digest their food within an internal cavity which store food reserves as glycogen or as fat, and most of them are capable of locomotion also. That's one of the difference between Plantae and Animalia. Now we have covered all the five kingdoms, but you haven't there was no mention of viruses and viroids. In fact, in five kingdom classification of Whitaker, there is no mention of these viruses or viroids. So viruses are actually non-cellular organisms that are characterized by having an inert crystalline structure. They can be crystallized, and it can be crystallized. It's the feature of a non-living thing. That crystalline structure outside the living cell, and once they infect a cell, they take over the machinery of the host cell to replicate themselves, to make their copies, and in this process they kill the host. And viruses, they also contain genetic material which can be either DNA or RNA, never both of them, either DNA or RNA. And viruses cause diseases such as mumps, smallpox, herpes, influenza, and this recently the pandemic which is going on, that is COVID. So AIDS in humans, that is also caused by virus. In plants, the symptoms can be mosaic formation, leaf rolling, curling, yellowing and vein clearing, dwarfism, stunted growth. All these are the symptoms of diseases which are caused by virus in plants. So let's have a look at the shape of viruses. For example, this is adenovirus. You can see it consists of DNA, and this is the its protein layer. This is TMV, tobacco mosaic virus. This is a plant virus. It consists of RNA, and this is its capsid. Capsid consists of many units which are called capsomeres. This is a bacteriophage. It is infecting the bacteria. It consists of DNA. You can see its parts: head, sheath, and basal plates, and the tail fibers. So now we'll compare virus and viroids. We'll learn about viroids also. So viroids were discovered in 1971 by Theo Diner. He discovered that there were some smaller infectious agents, even smaller than viruses, that cause spindle tuber disease, potato in potato plant. It was found to be free RNA, no protein structure with that, only free RNA, and it lacked protein code which is found in the virus. So that is the difference. The virus consists have the protein code, and the viroids, they're devoid of the protein code, and hence the name viroid. RNA is also of low molecular weight. See the comparison. This is a bacteriophage. It consists of DNA or RNA, but viroids don't have any this protein code outside the DNA. Viroids don't have these sheets. Prions, they are also now discovered. They are abnormally folded proteins of the size of virus that are known to cause certain neurological diseases. For example, CR Jacob disease in humans, and BSE, that is bovine spongiform encephalopathy, which is found in the pet animals. This is disease of pet animals, and these are the prions. We can say these are the free protein particles. So lichens are actually the symbiotic associations of that is mutually useful association between algae and fungi. Algal component is called phycobionte, and fungal is called as the mycobionte. And because now algae will prepare food for fungi, and fungi will provide shelter and absorb minerals for that. Lichens are very good pollution indicators. They don't grow in polluted areas, so that's a very good. This is a very beautiful shape of lichens. And with this, we come to the end of the chapter. Let's recapitulate what we have learned. We learned about kingdom Protista, its classes: chrysophytes, dinoflagellates, euglenoids, slime molds, protozoans. And we also learned that Protista have a well-defined nucleus. And Fungi, we learned about fungi also, the various classes of fungi, Phycomycetes, Ascomycetes, Basidiomycetes, Deuteromycetes. Similarly, we learned about planting kingdom, their groups, and animal kingdom, and some acellular organisms, viruses and viroids, which don't find any mention in the five kingdom system. So this is your assignment. Based on this video lesson, you have to solve the assignment. Thank you, all of you.